So what I'd like to do is say once again, thanks for checking in today. We are going to change up formats next week, and so what we're going to do is we're going to assume next week that we're all in tune and we're all warmed up, and we're going to sort of maybe just visit that stuff quickly next week. And we certainly appreciate you hanging in there. If we experience any technical difficulties, if we drop the stream tonight, and like I think we've already done that, what we want you to do is feel comfortable to just hang right in there, and we'll be right back on. And so we won't be off for very long. Okay, so if you're without stream, we will be right back. So we want to welcome you. We'd like to welcome you again to Studio Carey. We'd like to also draw your attention to Mr. Dinoceratosaurus over here. Rhinoceratosaurus. So the production crew tonight consists of Aaron, and thank you very much, Aaron, for the, what is it? Rhinoceratosaurus?
Yes, sir.
Rhinoceratosaurus. You'll likely see him time and again. So he's one of our favorites around here and around the studio. So we are talking about Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley tonight. And just a couple of housekeeping notes. Just a quick update. Reminder that next week will probably mark the week where we stop sort of featuring warm-ups at the beginning of these sessions. Try to shorten things up and get right to the point. I know if you still want warm-ups, just let us know, and we'll feature some of those in other videos later on and stuff. You still need warm-ups. But warm-ups are so important, and it's really important to be in tune. So you know, just to get going, we'll be in tune next week. But today, Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley, the late great Mr. Jeff Buckley, and with any luck, we'll channel his presence tonight. And this is the studio version, so if you're learning this song, you'll want the studio version. Okay, so go ahead and get that. You can, I'm not sure if you can, but go ahead and download all of the tablature for this lesson. It's like a 4 megabyte package binder, so you can find those in the comments and maybe in the chat over here later on. So find that stuff. Let's see, the live chat is open and will be maintained, and we'll do our best to make sure that that live chat is available as it happens after we post the lesson. After we finish this lesson, it will post to our live stream playlist, and you should be able to find it there and review any live chat questions as we start picking up momentum and speed here. So we'll gain more subscribers, and it'd be really helpful if you give us a little less, not more, but a little less. Okay, LSS, like, subscribe, share. Okay, that's what we're doing, a little less. Okay, so not more, but less. So let's tune up. If you happen to ask a question in the live chat, eventually we're going to get some live chat build up here. So let's go ahead and hit the live chat with questions. We'll do our best to respond in a timely manner in this session, and if not, we definitely will follow up. So leave us your email or contact us. EAD. I'm assuming you're in tune, just in case you need to tweak it a little bit. And we'll go and finish with a high E. So if you have any questions about tuning, you want us to wait, I guess the bit.ly posted? Yeah. Okay, great. So the bit link's working, and so last session it didn't work, so it's working again. So you should have the download available. So we're done tuning up. Let's go ahead. Once we get tuned up, we need to go to capo 5. So hopefully you all have a capo, and if you don't, what happens if you don't? I guess if you don't have a capo, you won't be able to use a capo. And next time, maybe you could find a capo. I use these. I'm not endorsing this capo in any way, other than you know, I am endorsing it by the fact that I'm using it. I love the capo. It's a Page capo, and it sits right up here on the guitar neck, so it's handy when you need it. Okay, it's a beautiful thing, and I would recommend having something. I have to have it over here, so I put it in my guitar case or I put it in my pocket. I lose the thing, so. Cost me 20 bucks every time I lose a capo, so I just stopped doing it. 20 bucks one time, bang, it sits on every guitar I have, and best investment you're going to make. Quite possibly. I'll qualify it with quite possibly. So don't forget to give us less. Like, subscribe, share. And let's go ahead and talk about the chords that we're talking about first. We'll kind of run over that. I think we're going to run right over the tune-up. I don't know how you guys feel about that. You guys feel all right about skipping the tune-up? I mean the warm-up? We probably should do it a little bit anyways. It's so important to do a warm-up. So we'll start on position number 9 with finger number 1 on the low E string. And if you have friends who always wanted to learn this Hallelujah song by Jeff Buckley, now's a great time to tell them. You know, give them a link to this live chat, this live video stream, and let's go ahead and get them involved too. That'd be great, and we thank you so much for doing that. Finger 1. Now what we need to do is focus on breathing and get ready for the learning experience, because unlike other YouTube videos where, you know, it's really about fast energy and addictive banging power, you know, it's very difficult to learn and practice a guitar or learn a craft that way under duress. You know, we'll try to generate a little bit of that energy and help keep everybody excited and engaged. But the reality is, in order to create yourself a learning environment, you need a stool for your butt, a footstool for your foot, good light, very good light, well-lighted room, and you know, an iPad or a notepad where you can take notes, and a music stand that you can set your notes on. And a good breathing pattern. So as long as we're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and making long, slow tones with fingers 4, 3, 2, and 1, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, we should be in pretty good shape. It may be painful to watch me do this, but it's very important that you go through this practice on your own, and it's definitely, I'm getting a head shake here that it's painful watching me do this. No?
Very important.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'm getting reinforcement here, right here in this very studio, that's very important. So you heard it first on the internet. So
Must be true.
it's got to be true. So we're going to call that quits for warm-up. Hopefully you're well breathed, well oxygenated, and that oxygen travels all the way through all this tissue. So we would normally stretch for 15 seconds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, while you breathe. This is important after we stretch, because that's 15 seconds gone by, and do it 15 seconds. I can't encourage you enough, and I can show you. I'm not going to sit here and do it for 15 seconds because I don't want to bore you, but it's really important, and you will feel the benefit. You feel like a brand new guitar player after this. And so many people don't want anything to do with this, but this is what all the pros do. If you want to do something for 8 hours a day, you know, let's say you wanted to work for 8 hours a day. Are you going to work, most of us going to work for 8 hours a day without break? No, probably not. I think a good rule of thumb is every 15 minutes of practice time, break time. Get up and do something, move around, eat an orange, crack an apple open, whatever you do. Just get up and move around, 15, you know, come back in 5 minutes and practice another 15 minutes. And those breaks, we're still programming the fingers even though we're up and moving around. So that's great stuff. Don't forget to give us a little less. Like, subscribe, share. And that's good. So that's like a 15, 15, 15, 15. That's a, you know, and you'd want to do that twice. So that's like a 2-minute exercise. 5 minutes to warm up, 2 minutes, you get 7 minutes into it. Give yourself a little pat on the back, because you're going to be a successful guitar player. That in itself will get you somewhere. So the chords today are G, capo 5, don't forget. G with the old first finger on fret 2, right? That's a real banger right there. So you get that most of the time. We play that G5. Woke up to the sound of pouring rain. If you're playing any of those tunes, chances are you're looking at G5. G5. But this one, we've got to get that, the old Jeff Buckley B in there, so the Buckley B. You get that first finger on fret number 2 on the A string. Give it a little flavor, a little cush on the bottom end of the chord, okay? Then, what we're doing is E minor 7. So I think the E minor 7 is usually played like this, like if you were playing Wonderwall by Oasis or something. But we're taking that second finger off, just like that, using the open low E, fret 2, open D, open G, fret 3 on the B string, and open high, no, I'm sorry, fret 3 on the high E strings. That's a good one to know. Big, fat, wide open sound. And we love that around here. Big, fat, wide open sound, all right? That's usually followed by a little less, you know? You know what I'm saying? So we've got that C chord coming up. You know, it's a traditional sort of C. It's like the Nashville type C with that D string banged out or muted out, and an open D string is choked, you know, with the third finger laying over. But that E string is sort of replaced up here on the high E string. So we're not omitting it. So it's still called C. It's not C5, but it's C, okay? We got the old D chord in there, which is usually sounds great if the guitar's in tune.
Make sure it's in tune.
Let's make sure the guitar's in tune. Let's get that old confirmation. Can I get a confirmation this thing's in tune? Usually, just a helpful hint here, usually it's not enough if someone else confirms for you the guitar's in tune. You have to use your own ears. Okay? That's a joke. Okay, so we get that D chord right here. You know, the regular D that can be moved all over the guitar neck, and it sounds great. And you can even stick the A string underneath it. Fatten her up a little bit, okay? It just gives it a little more beefy sound, and then if you wanted to get your thumb on the bottom end of that, okay, you get that nice big fat D with the F sharp. So anyway, G with B in the bass. It's kind of like the G that we started out with, but we're playing no G on the low E string. So it's a little softer sound because there's B in the bass. Here's the G in the bass. And here's B in the bass. A little lighter sound. And great guitar players are familiar with how that changes the chord's quality. Same chord quality, now we're playing G with D in the bass. Right, even lighter than both the G and G in the bass and B in the bass. Now the D's in the bass. So good stuff to know about. Just keeps getting lighter and lighter as we ascend up in frequency. B7 with D sharp in the bass. This is a great one. This is a good one. So finger 1 on fret 1 on the D. We haven't played this one together before. If you've seen any of my other videos, chances are we have not played this chord. I was thinking about doing a Garth Brooks tune coming up too, maybe a little Friends in Low Places. We might see this chord again. So finger 1 on the D, fret 2 on the G with finger 2. Open up that B string. Give her a good run, okay? Open B goes up to fret 2 on the high E string. On a Dark Desert Highway, that's a good one. We might do that too. And then E minor, another version of the E minor. Fret 2 on the D, open G and open B, and then fret 3 on the B string, a high E string, okay? So it's a really cool sound. And you'll notice my right hand, we should talk about that a little bit because after you get done subscribing, of course, you know, you want to make sure you give us a subscription so you can get all of these Wednesday night at 9 guitar sessions, Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those are great times for us to be playing guitar together. We're just preparing, we're still working on getting the final details for our Australian crowd. You Aussies out there, if you're hanging in there, thanks a bunch, okay? So we'll see you, it's likely next week. Maybe this week, next week, but we're setting up a time right now, finishing up with that. The Hallelujah chords, we went through all of those, but there's one thing I wanted to talk about is that right hand pattern. So if you're looking at page 2 on the tablature, on the binder, you're going to find the right hand pattern, and we're just going to repeat that a couple of times, okay? So it's very important. We're starting with that G chord. And it's the page 2 on the Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley, capo 5, of course, if you're just tuning in. We're using the G chord, finger 3 on the low E, and we're adding the Buckley B in there, fret 2 on the A string. And so we're just using the thumb to roll through the bottom. It's a forward roll through the bottom 3 strings. And then the top 2 strings are double stopped, right? We're actually playing those top 2 strings with the right hand fingers the middle finger and the ring finger. Okay, so we're going to use the middle and ring fingers. And then we're going to grab those top 2 strings simultaneously and then reverse roll back to the G string with the index finger, and then back, continue with that reverse roll back to the open D string with the thumb. And we should roll through this very slowly. And slowly build it up with a faster tempo. As soon as we gain mastery at one tempo, we can speed it up a little bit, and incrementally we will reach our goal. Okay, so the goal is that. And it's okay to play that, 300 times and just get that programmed into the right hand, because that right hand is really going to need it. We're going to need it bad for this song, or badly, I think. So let's go ahead and do the tune. Are you guys prepared? Are you ready for this? So we'll start out with the introductory lick, and it's the intro, labeled as the intro on page 1 on the binder. So we've got, starting with that G, the last note of that forward roll into the reverse roll is a note that it's a passing tone. And all that means is we're passing from the G to the F sharp down to the E. Instead of just going from G like a square, we're rounding the corners that help us to walk down to the low E note. And then we walk back up to the G. Okay, so after we do that 4 times, we moved into the verse section of the song. So the verse section is carrying that introduction idea, that G, that walks down to the E minor 7, that goes back up to the G, then descends back down to the E minor 7. The last time we do that, though, we move from that B note, instead of walking up on the low E string, we walk up on the second fret of the B. Excuse me. Excuse me. A little tasty cold. Did you crack that over there yet? Crack a little tasty cold? Tasty cold beverage? Okay. Excuse me. Pardon me. Usually I'd press mute for that. So we've got that nice C chord that we're approaching, right? So we're coming from the verse. Then we approach that C chord from B note underneath it. And then we do a forward roll into a reverse roll. And then we go back with the middle finger and kind of fuddle around with a forward roll into a reverse, a combination roll. Then we move directly to the D chord with an open G string, which is adding the 4th degree of the scale. You know, it's really not that important, but I'm just going to continue to talk like I've always been talking since music school, and I've just been speaking this language for years, so I suppose it's common to me now. And if I'm speaking any like new language, seems like new language to you, I would recommend just hanging in there, and eventually that language will become yours too. So don't hesitate. If you have questions, to just stop me and ask, because sometimes I just assume that everyone knows what I'm talking about. Sometimes we don't. So go ahead and ask. But this is normal and standard terminology that is sort of in common use, and if it's mine, it will soon be yours too. So we've got that C, forward roll to the D with the open G string, and then G with B in the bass. Okay? And then we move from that G with B in the bass, reverse roll, and then G with D in the bass to a D chord, D sus2, hammering on to the, let's see, that D sus2 hammers on to the D on 2nd fret, and then we reverse roll with the right hand, 2 reverse rolls in a row. Okay? So let's take it from that far. We'll go back to the beginning of the verse. Don't forget the second time around we use that B note to approach the C, forward into a reverse roll and combination roll to the D chord, and then G with B in the bass, G with D in the bass. Then we have that D chord, D sus2 with a hammer on, 2 reverse rolls, and then we have the G with B in the bass, and then C with D, reverse roll, and then E minor. We just go up the whole chord, and then I think I may have need to do that again. So we do the first lowest 3 strings with the thumb, and then index in the middle, and then back to index, so it should look like this. And then we move up to the C, which is thumb and middle finger, ring finger at the same time, A string fret 3 and open high E. And then we reverse roll, again we come backwards with the ring, the middle, and index fingers. And then we move up to D chord, and we do that thing twice. Then we move to B7 with D sharp in the bass. Then we move on up to E minor. And at that time we use something that's transcribed as, it's a little bit of counterpoint, the old counterpoint, starting with open D and open B. And the thumb on the right hand, we'll use the thumb and the middle fingers. And then we move down to 2nd finger, 2nd fret on the A, and then fret 3 on the B. Okay? Then we move into the chorus. So before we move into the chorus, here's the verse again. Okay, so we're moving that, using that counterpoint to get us into the C chord. And then there's some sort of in that C under the chorus, there's a form of a forward roll into a reverse roll, or a combination roll, really. Then we move to the E minor, into the E minor 7. And then we add that 7th degree, that flatted 7th of the E minor. So that's the 3rd fret on the B string. Then we have the C chord with 2 reverse rolls. This is really cool at the end of the sequence where he does this, leads down to the D chord with the A in the bass. So we have two approaches, the G with the B in the bass. The top 2 strings are on fret number 3, okay? Okay, so that's pretty much the song, including the chorus, so the introduction, the verse, and the chorus. What we need from you right now is a little less. Okay, a little less. Like, subscribe, share, and that would be great. Any help that you can give us, or you feel compelled to give us, we'd love to see more friendlies around these parts. Okay, here at Studio Carey. So you can always subscribe. There's a link in the chat box, or there should be anyway. And if you wanted to focus any more on any parts of this song, we can do that, but I think what we're doing is we're sort of like running out of time for tonight. I think I want to keep everybody on schedule, so I don't know if you're on East Coast or West Coast, but if you're just getting home from work and you were scrambling to make it to this guitar session today, thank you very much for watching. And remember, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's the time where we can play some guitar together and learn some really fun stuff. And if you have questions or have certain songs that you'd like to see, don't hesitate to ask us. Okay. So what I'd like to do is wrap it up now. I'm just going to play a couple of songs, a couple of measures of the introduction, and maybe work through the verse a little bit. But I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll see you next time. Wednesdays at 9. See you then.